Welcome everybody to this stream on this imaginary rainy day, early morning in Porto. It's not real time, it's not real weather. This is a preset I'm running in case you are wondering. We'll discuss everything just now. I've just booted into the simulator, so before I continue, the very first thing I am going to do is to reload the Zibo. So some of you are familiar with my procedure of starting the 172 first, then switching to the Zibo. In the Vulcan, it's not very successful, so the next best thing is exactly what I'm about to show you. What I do, just to make sure that everything works fine, is I go to the developer menu, I select a reload, the current aircraft and art, and that will force a proper reload without any interference from anything third party or even X-plane. So I'm just going to do that, and while that loads we can start talking about the flight and everything that we are going to do. So let me get some toolkit up and then we can talk about the theory behind the whole story. So what we're going to do is we're using Porto as the airport in the middle. We're going to fly a complete circuit using the SID and the star, and we're going to return to Porto. All right, the actual flight time I think is in the region of about 30 to 35 minutes. So we're going to climb to flight level 110. The weather preset makes provision for headwinds, tailwinds, side winds, as well as temperatures below 10 degrees Celsius, which will force you to use, or supposed to, if you have not, you need to take that into consideration. You need to use your engine anti-ice in these conditions. It will allow you to literally do a complete flight as if you're flying from one airport to another, but it's all in the circuit. And for me, this is good for training. It's a short flight. If you are bored one day, you just jump in, quickly do the circuit. You have to go through all the normal motions that you would in a normal flight, and at half the time or maybe even less. So good morning, Christer and Munir. Good morning. Thank you. Same to you. Have a nice Sunday. Gents, so we're going to take off from runway 35, land runway 35. The landing runway makes provision for an EGNOS LPV landing. We can also use LNAV-VNAV, and we can also use the LNAV-VNAV to create an EAN approach for us, or we can do it visually. You'll see it's not possible in the current weather. It's just not possible to do that. So we're going to stick to LPV. Initially, if you guys want me to do an LNAV-VNAV/EAN approach, we can talk about it later. But in essence, the we'll use the MMR on the GLS setting to input the EGNOS code, and we'll talk about things like that just now. The reason we're going to use that is if we go to the actual chart and we look at our minimums that is required. If we read from the right-hand side, LNAV-VNAV, we have to have a minimum. Well, our decision height is 540 or 530, depending on our weights there. And then on LPV, it's slightly lower. So with the current ceiling, you guys can see it's yuck. The better option would be to go for a more precise approach when you're going to use the LPV function. And we are going to enter our EGNOS code into the MMR. I've flown this circuit, I think, about 20 times since yesterday. This is also the Zibo Mod RC2.2, because I had to put it through its paces, and this is a good place to do that. So I've flown this quite a bit. You guys are going to enjoy it with me. Some of the settings will be in place, but I'm going to talk you through it anyway. Alright, and then the next thing I want to show you guys, which is kind of important, is obviously where the weather comes from. For those of you that are not familiar with STKP Sim Toolkit Pro, have a look here. Even if you have it, some guys mentioned yesterday they didn't know this existed. So we can go to weather presets here at the top. And apart from clear and snowy, cloudy, light rain, heavy rain, stormy rain, They all have a QNH of 1003, all the middle ones. Alright, the difference will be cloudy, nice weather, light rain, heavy rain, stormy. Alright, so at this point in time, I'll show you when the aircraft is powered up, what the differences will be on the weather radar. So this is also a good place to show you how the weather radar will work, you know, in its limited format that we have it. But this is where the weather comes from. So I've already exported my flight plan. I've also put a copy of the text into the description below the video if you guys wanted. Also the copy of the scenery in the area. So everything else that I might have skipped or missed, these guys just ask and I'll see if I can get it to you. Until then, let's get going. I'm going to use imaginary values. I did not create a full OFP for this flight. So I'm going to use a lot of my old knowledge collected over many years. If you guys want to ask something, to stop me and I'll explain if there's something that you do not know or understand. So let's get SDK off and let's just go and get our GPU connected. We're obviously not going to use any of these other things. I'm not going to bother with doors and things like that. We can start our flight leg already. In the configuration, I would highly recommend under the realism setting, make your default field time short. Just don't save anything you change now, so it will revert back to default later, but just make it short so that we can actually have a meaningful flight. So here we go. Under our payload, we're going to go 16.5 tons, and under our fuel, let me quickly look at this. I see you guys are texting me there. Sorry guys, I'm very focused here. Cor, good morning. And Paul, good morning. Pitpen, morning. Abhishek, good morning. I'm good. How are you? No, this is not real weather. Sorry, I missed your comment there. I did not even look, and I've just explained the weather, so I hope that's sufficient for you. In Ruan. Yeah, welcome. Okay, so we've done our loading. One thing I'm also not going to do is I'm not going to fiddle with the landing weight. So our trim is going to be 6 VRF 145 at the end there. And we're just going to use it as is, just to make it a little bit easier on the guys who just want to enjoy the flight. Obviously, you can go and play with your loading if you want to. So let's get some light. Flaps.
Hey Nico, question for you. Is there any reason why you don't use the blown tire model?
Yes, because half of the time after I land, I get stuck on the runway. I don't want to, pull the tug between me off. Especially when I fly for the virtual airlines, it's highly annoying to get stuck on the runway. Or if you fly in Matson, all of a sudden there you sit. I just put the tire.
I think Ryanair has a whole truck cart full of tires, don't they?
Probably.
On runway 35. On runway 35.
Alright, so while we are on this page, let's quickly have a look at our config. We said we're going to use the EGNOS code, so I'm just going to refresh your memory there. So we need to have 9243. It should be programmed once we go to the GLS. There it is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start up with it in standby. Our VOR here is 114.10, so I'm going to leave that. That is fine. We don't need to change anything on that side. But all our other frequencies are okay. What we need to do is just make sure that our heading, the course values are correct. Heading I'm going to leave as that because this is a circuit. You can obviously use normal procedure and change that if you want to do your heading takeoff or whatever other takeoff you want to play with, but that should be fine. We are going to fly at 11,000 feet. That is proper. Pressurization is already set. Actually put the seatbelts on as well while I'm thinking about it. Right, then what we're going to do is go look at our FMC.
Question on GLS, Nico.
Ask.
Is it necessary to enter them on both sides or just one?
No, one is fine for me. I'm not a real pilot, as a disclaimer, just to tell you guys who are new to this channel. In other words, I'm not a type-rated semi pilot. I don't have issues in the Zibo currently only enabling it one side. So based upon that, I say no, it's not required.
Okay.
I've never had issues. Right, what is important is when you actually look at your arrival, you're going to specify the arrival now. When you are going to do an EGNOS approach, your glide slope must be off because it runs from your FMC, so it requires a glide path. That's very important. Never ever change that setting ever. The Zibo code as well as the Boeing code is clever enough to know when to switch that on or off. That's just an override if you need it, so just leave that all alone. Hakan, that is Afrikaans. It says, very good afternoon, all you crazy heads. And then he says, hello, Hakan. Hello, Ayon musician. This Philip. Alright, okay, so we've done that. We know we're okay there. Let's go switch this side off. I'm going to leave the VOR on for number 2. That's also going to help us later on, we'll see. And then what we are going to do is just quickly step through the plan here, make sure that everything is in place. As you can see, it's a nice exact circuit there at stages, but it works out pretty nicely. You have to be on the ball, guys. You have to concentrate. So I'm going to try my best to concentrate and give you a good show at least today. Google account settings. That's where you need to change your name. Right, so that takes care of that. For us, we know from the preset that our QNH is 1003, so we can set that up already. Okay, that will be standard. We don't want the reserves to become a problem, and our cost index is going to be verify at 110. So that's also going to help you learn to go through your transition altitude and to come back into your transition altitude by the flight level. I'm not going to enter this information, guys. It is not required when you do a circuit like this. Any dashed lines in a Boeing is not required. It's nice to have. You will always see me when I do a proper flight do this because it does count. The Zibo code and the real Boeing will take this into account for your top of climb information. But for this one, I'm skipping it because, well, firstly, I don't have it to put it in. I'm going to guess, and secondly, it's not going to change many things right now for us. So we're going to look at the takeoff there. We don't want to waste time, so we're going to climb fast. We need enough energy to get there. I'm also not going to do page 2. We can do it. It is available to us, but I'm going to skip it for now, just to again make it easier on the new guys. Guys who just need to learn how to do the basics. What I want to do is I just want to set this to wet. So it's going to change the speed slightly. Right, so at least we've got that. I must worry about that. So next page, just make sure we're on wet because it's a wet situation we find ourselves in. Alright, so trim will be 6 and Alright, everything here seems to be fine. Okay, switch on the ARA. Nav lights correct. And let us fire up our engines. Well, because the need AB, sorry. Well, let's start it. Let's just check the rest of the stuff. Paul, I will try and remember my flaps today, just for you.
Thank you.
How's that for weather? So by clicking your presets in SDKP, we can actually see the difference there. There is just light rain, there we've got heavy rain, and there we've got stormy. I'm just going to do heavy rain. Awesome, Philip. Thanks.
Nico,
Yes,
can you take the Uncle John the group? He can come. He sent a message to me.
no, then you must just click here. Uncle John, just click here. It's working. And this is not my locked room. You just come there. There you go. Hello, Uncle John.
Uncle John is here. Be careful.
Right, so while that's pulling up, let us test and see what did we forget. So VNav is not working and my eyes immediately find that little switch for the flight director on the info side was not flicked, so that's fine. LNAV VNav is now correct. Hey Jason, awesome, you're welcome. Right, so let's get the generators on the bus. We can go for continuous there. We can get one out. We don't need to get the air conditioners sorted. And switch off the APU. Right. There's the flaps ball. Thank you. I'm going to always remember you now. Hey Ricardo, welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have very good news today.
What?
Uncle John has a PPL.
Thank you, Hakan.
I am really happy to be here with a real pilot, sir.
Okay, good.
You need to ask. If you
Alright.
have any question, you can direct us to Uncle John.
Thanks,
He's
Hakan.
going to respond to you.
Good. Alright, I just want to quickly run through everything. Guys, if you see anything that I have not done, we should have flaps 5 green lights should be done, bolts, amps, pressurization is done, all the normal lights, LNAV, VNAV is set. We do not have any takeoff config warning. Yeah, there we go, because parking brake is on, but there's nothing else. Equal nothing. Happiness is. Yeah, Ricardo, this is an awesome place, this airport itself. I mean, I love flying here, I love testing this aircraft here. Guys, anything before I go, or do you think we're ready? Looks okay to me. Speak now, farewell, chickies. That's what I did with it. The right VOR switch on the captain's side is on. We have VOR switched on for the purpose and it's later. Command A. I'm not sure how to get the rain to shut up. That's the only thing. Sorry, Christer. I really apologize, but I don't know how to set the rain softer environment.
I don't want to focus on what someone disliked you, Nico. Let me say something.
Yeah.
Why you dislike her? Why?
Why? What is like what?
To your video.
Did somebody dislike this video again?
Yes, sir. I'm so sad. At least we need 9 thumbs up right now to clarify that.
Haters will hate.
It's not
I would,
important.
I would hazard a guess. It's the same idiot
Yeah.
from yesterday, so don't worry about it. 'Cause he knows who he is.
Yeah. Christer, I'm sorry, buddy. I am. I feel bad for you now, man. I did. I've changed it. You know what I think it could be? I actually wonder. I think what it is actually X camera. Let's quickly have a look. Right. There. Sorry, there you go. It's X camera. It just came to me. Thanks, Deep
Altimeter
Space.
setting.
Yeah, well, now I'm sure I can go and fiddle with it and make it less noisy, but let's just keep it off for now. It's more important to get the information across and to empower you guys to be able to fly the flight. I mean, I just did a normal flight. I didn't speak through the whole process, but I mean, it's just a normal LNAV, VNAV departure, and there you see we are on course already. So what is important, guys, very important, is once we go below 10 degrees on TAT, we need to go for our engine anti-ice, because in a condition like this, you're asking for trouble if that thing is not on. So again, this is one of the reasons I chose this preset. My pleasure, Christer. Yeah, but Ben, see, when I put my concentration back in the aircraft, I remember things like that as well. Right, once we go through the 10,000, we're
As we
going
go.
to, yeah, I obviously forgot the lights. Who said lights? Somebody there said lights. Christer, yeah, I forgot the lights in the confusion and haste to get airborne. So you guys have to do the lights. We don't have to worry about it now. There's no point in switching off the seat belts. You'll see this is like a rodeo.
Light is not important so much, sir. Don't worry.
Nobody's going to give us a you know, hassle because it's not on. It's just it would have been a nice effect if I did remember, but I did ask twice, and at least I remembered the chalk. So anyway, you guys, you know what to do. So we learn from the mistakes. Right.
Even
So
sometimes I don't use lights at home.
at home, yeah. Christer, the first thing I'm going to do is the EGNOS approach. All right, we can do an EN approach afterwards if you guys really want to. That's not a problem. What I am going to do right now is I am going to save a situation for myself. I don't want to overwrite number 1, so I'm going to use save flight number 2. Alright, save flight number 2. So if anything goes wrong, we can always come back to this very position. Alright. Now what we need to do is just basically suss out where we are. It's only 41 nautical miles for top off descent. You see, it's quick. It happens very fast. So once we are ready, we can start looking at our descent planning. For our descent planning, let's go to Navigraph first, because that's going to make more sense then. So on Navigraph, we can see we need to put 480 in our minimums. That will be the decision height. So we're going to go for 480. We know that the altimeter is going to be 1003. Alright, then what we're going to do is we're going to set up our VREF for approach. So that's
descend, crossing, descend.
Arkan, that's loud.
Yeah.
Descend now.
That's loud. Right, we're going to go for auto brake 2, and because this is an LPV approach and we are going to use that code that's in our charts over there, 9243, and again, like I say, because it's EGNOS, we're going to set up the MCP to go down to 500, which is the closest altitude to the decision height. We do not want to leave that, because any altitude higher than that, that is the altitude where the autopilot will stop to descend in this type of approach. So we're just going to let it go down. Then we need to go to our radios and make sure our GLS code is inserted. Alright, so there you guys can see it's already picked it up, runway 35. It's got, you know, all the rest of the information there that we're looking for. So we are set. So what's going to happen, as you guys can already see, there are diamonds. It's going to follow this as if it is an ILS approach, basically. So you'll follow the diamonds. As long as there is no interference from the outside, everything should be fine. Right, so our temperature is 9. You'll see it fluctuates up and down. It's still not 10, so we're going to keep the heaters on there for the engines. And I think this is a good a place as any to save flight leg number 3, because if we need to come back here, it will be easy to refly the flight from here. Yes, Christer, the preset is set up to give us valid acceptable minimums. Now, guys, one of the reasons I went to this preset is because of the rock and roll that you guys can see right now. You can also see the wind. Depending on the direction we fly, we have a tailwind, we have a side wind, we have a wind from the front. And one of the problems we've had in the last 2 releases before this one was porpoising because of the weather influence on the Zibo. So this is about as good a test as any that I can put up to actually throw a whole bunch of bad weather situations to the aircraft and to see that it actually works. And believe it or not, it works. It's very stable. So the first flight of the day seems to be sorted, and you know, anything else that happens after this is not part of the discussion today. It will be a separate issue. While we've got time, I just want to guys, is that acceptable? Can you please give me some feedback? Well, is that kind of rain effect, is it acceptable over my voice? Thank you, Christer. If it's a problem, buddy, you know, just shout, you know, we'll get rid of it if we have to. Thank you so much. Yeah, then at least there is something. Alright, one of the next things that just started happening is speed is very important in this situation. If you overspeed, you're not going to match the glide path and things will go wrong, guys. So this is one of the reasons I said to you we need to concentrate a little bit during this flight. So it's also part of the training, also part of getting you to pay attention. We have just slowed down a little bit because of the top of descent that's right there in front of us, and you will see that speed bug is now going to come down at least 2 more times, and as it comes down you are going to have to use your speed brakes. My speed brakes are now armed, and I'll obviously wait for the appropriate opportunity to actually enable them. But please, you know, come try and fly this flight a few times so you guys can get into the flow of things with having to use speed brakes when necessary as well. Alright, before we go too far, and I mean this aircraft is now going to descend on its own, we did our bit there. Let's quickly go and look at our final approach fix. PR542 is the final approach fix that we have. You can also double check that on the chart. I'll show you that quickly. PR542 is the final approach fix. So what we can do also for training purposes or various other reasons, we can put PR542 in the fix page. So you click on fix, you go put that in, and then we can actually put up certain rings around it. So we'll have a 7 nautical mile ring, a 5 nautical mile ring. Oops. It didn't disconnect the autopilot. It did. Sorry, I by mistake touched the trim wheel. 7, 5, and then 3. Alright, so if we go back to the chart there, you see the rings are coming in. So the idea, and there's our speed, so we have to put out our speed brakes to make sure that we get there as soon as possible to keep our path going properly. What's going to happen is those rings are going to guide us when to use our flaps. Alright, it's not an exact science. One usually adapts the science to the situation, but generally speaking, in theory, it's a good time when you reach your first ring to pull flaps 5. Your second ring is flaps 15 with gear down, and the last one is when you configure flaps 30 or 40 for landing. Alright, so that has to be done before your final approach fix, and this is just a nice trick to help you see where you are. Now in this particular approach, because we are following the VNAV path, there is a deceleration point over there. Now what I will do here is, once I go past the deceleration point and the speed comes down below 235, I will pull flaps 1 already. That will assist the aircraft to slow down and get ready for the next couple of steps. So that's just how I do it. Once I get to my deceleration point, we'll take it on further. There is the VOR line, and why was it important? That obviously is our runway center line, so I use it as a guide, and that's why I keep it on. If I switch it off, it's not there obviously, and so I just like to see, especially in this weather, to have some other reference of where we are apart from just a magenta line and a little bug on the screen. That just gives me a little bit more situational awareness. Alright, I've just lifted that speed brake because we're going too slow now. Right, and while I'm thinking about it, just to show you guys, this is 3.41rc2.2, which is, in my opinion, apart from .27, this is probably the next most stable one there is. Right, so I'm going to now pull flaps 1. I've also extended the speed brake, and this is now going to take us to a slower speed and assist with staying on the glide path there. What is important for you guys, that is your flaps scale. So anywhere between the 1 and the up, that is for flaps 1, and you'll see the scale change for the different flaps. So in case you are wondering when to pull them, that is your guide. Apart from just that is the actual speeds that is recommended to be at a specific flap setting. Sergeant Potato, hello, how are you? Alright, so we can pretty much still see nothing, but we start thinking of some wipers here. Let's check our temperature. We're still at +9. Once that goes 10 and higher, we can switch the oh, now my English is leaving me. We can switch the anti-ice off. Yeah, the gear down and locked. I'm very well, thank you. We are quickly using a bit of bad weather to just show the guys a couple of tricks to fly a circuit. Right, I'm going to pull flaps 5 now. We are getting to the first ring, so just to be ahead of the aircraft, I'm pulling flaps 5. And remember, I said when we get to the second ring, that's a good place to go gear down, and then flaps 15 in that order. Yeah, well, Sergeant Potato, I'm glad, man. This is RC2.2 of 3.41, and I tell you what, it's basically flawless for normal operation. I know of a few little niggly things, but there's nothing in this model that prevents you from enjoying it. Right, so you guys can see the diamonds are now in place, and we are just going to let the aircraft fly itself down. Alright, so gear down, flaps 15. Right, there we go through our transition flight level. And there we have our landing configuration come into play. Right, so now we are fully configured. Let's check. We've got our auto brake on, gear down, 3 green. We can use the lights this time. We've got our continuous on again. Everything seems to be fine. And there we are in the GLS, and we are just allowing it to take us down. But I'm just matching my hardware throttles with the actual throttles there. Yeah, Sergeant Potato, I've had the same thing, man. You fly offline, it looks good, you don't record it, and it's like a fishtail afterwards, you know. I caught one yay big. Alright, so we're just waiting and waiting.
Good morning.
Hello Jordan, good morning. Did you have a good night?
I did. Did you happen to see that screenshot I put up?
I saw something, but my concentration isn't with it right now. Just to refresh my memory.
Word?
Where's it in screenshots?
Yes, sir. It was actually a picture of something that happened in the plane on
Oh.
10 minutes on.
The frozen stuff. Oh, that's an
Yeah.
interesting thing. Did you by any chance forget your pitot heaters to switch them on?
I don't think so. I think everything was good. It was really weird. Like 10 minutes before I came into final, I had altimeter warning on the screen there
Okay.
from the rad,
Yeah.
and then from there my speed never changed, and then as you can see the flaps were a little bugged out too. It was really weird.
Yeah. Okay, let me just answer gear down and lock. Gear down and lock, there are different modes that's depicted on your primary flight display. When it's in FMC speed mode and you've set your tablet up correctly, because there are settings in the tablet that you need to set up. By the way, I want to save a flight 4 quickly, just to have a replay there if necessary. Okay. So if you set up your Zibo tablet settings correctly and you are in FMC speed, I can move my throttles any which way. It will never ever listen to me, which is very important. Again, read the guide. It's all in there. You need to set this up.
Approaching 3-5.
Right, there's our runway. You'll see at one point in time the PFD will display arm. When it's in arm mode, then your throttles will be armed and it will definitely have an influence. Right, so there's minimums. We've decided to land. And I hope we can do a better landing. There's a bit of a bump in the road, yes, I've got to contend with that as well. Thank you. I don't know why you didn't hear it, because I also didn't hear it. I think it's with me fiddling here with all the sounds and stuff. I might have messed up something. when we tried to figure out what the rain problem was. So let's do this. Right guys, so anyway, that concludes phase 1 of what we wanted to do. Let's just quickly, now I'm looking up, why would I do that? Let's quickly see if we can, no, exterior shouldn't be a problem, interior could be a problem. Let's make sure that's fine. Radio, save it. Yeah, that's part of it, Christus. So what we can do is
As you go.
just go back to flight
As you go.
3. Right, I just need to get it stable. Let's go for altitude hold. And this is a radio. Goodness. Rafida, just remember one thing. We don't want to aquaplane either, so better to just land a little bit harder, but you know, not kill yourself kind of a thing. When we do this landing, we'll try again, we'll do it a little bit softer. What we can do now is let's do the RNAV, LNAV, VNAV, RNAV approach with Ian. So I'm going to put up my VOR. There cannot be an active ILS frequency, and we are now going to use Ian with the approach button to actually get us down. So in that case, we're going to use 3000 for intercept. Well, I want to get the 11,000 stable. Sorry, I was referring to the 11,000 because we are doing a replay and it was reloading in that, you know, nasty piece of weather. We don't want a porpoising effect that was busy developing there, you understand? So currently it is now stable. I'm talking about the altitude. Sergeant Potato, it's okay, my friend. It's okay. Either or, we're here to help each other. We take it as it comes. Alright, so there's the first initial slowdown. Yeah, for sure. So, just want to check everything is fine. We're still on 7 degrees. Just wait for the descent to start again. Core, let me show you. It's in your joystick settings, controller sensitivity, stability augmentation needs to be 0. Right, so let's do this fix again. We've got PR 542. Seven, 5, 3. Right, here we go. That's fine, Uncle John. Right, our decision altitude will now be 540. 0 because it's LNAV. VNAV, that's right. 3000 for the descent. Right, lights. Start the brake again. You're welcome, Cole. Right, so as we get closer, you will see the Ian actually register there as ILS and so on. The same as the GLS did. We get our diamonds and all. The difference now is we're going to use the approach button. Right, so no more speed brake required. We'll wait until we go past the next deceleration point. Temperatures. What I'm going to do is just save before right here. So we don't have to go back all the way if we want to try again. The save function has really changed the way that I'm able to test this aircraft. It's so magnificent. I really like it. Well, you can load the real PFD mod that's on the org, Sergeant Potato, and then you can change your orange displays to yellow or white or whatever. I think they give you the option for white as well. Also in the tablet, there is a place, I'm just not sure if it's under visual effects now. I know it's in here somewhere where you can actually change, so yeah, there you go. MMR backlight, we can make it white. There. So some of it is already implemented. I prefer the mod that I'm using, so it just doesn't matter. Thank you, Chris. Right, so we need to slow down, and I'm going to pull flaps 1 just to assist the aircraft to actually stay on path there. And start using our wipers. We slow it enough. Well, not really, but we'll get there. Okay. I know that one. I know that. Well, Zibo started working on it. I don't know if you have noticed that it actually does the initialization phase before it actually starts up now when you start from cold and dark. It's actually amended quite a few things on both of these displays. So he's getting there.
I like how that gives you the countdown.
Yeah, it's very nice. So realistic. Right, we're at 9 degrees. The one thing I did not do during the last descent was to watch when we went over 10 degrees, because we really need to get rid of that engine anti-ice. But anyway, I think it's a perfect tool that we have right now, and this is a perfect place in the simulator to come and continuously level up. You know, you've got all the elements here, you've got all the abilities. If you fly the other way around and you land on runway 17, take off and land that way around, you can actually do auto land, all kinds of things. You can do your go around procedures. There is almost nothing that you cannot do just from this one airport and in this one circuit. It all depends on which way you fly around, because you've got the VOR, ATP, you've got everything. And you just need to set up your weather correctly. Absolutely. I sure hope that diamond's going to lift, because currently we're just on the normal LNAV ENAV. We cannot use the Ian yet, but there you can see Ian is waiting for us. So once that thing comes up a little bit, we can try using the Ian. There we go. Alright, so approach on. There we go.
Barometer.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, Sergeant Potato, leaps and bounds, man, leaps and bounds, it's changed. Alright, so there we go. Now we just like as if this was an iOS. And the one thing that you will also note is we went through, because we're using the approach mode, we busted our altitude there, and we can actually go and set up our go around altitude now, which is 6,000.
2,500.
Right, so last check, speed brake is on. We've got auto brakes on, flaps 30, lights, belts, continuous. Captain Rick, hello. And we're ready. We are just literally waiting it out now. Thank you, thank you. There you go, somebody's awake and it's off. Thanks, Krista. Well, at least you've got something to enjoy while you're doing your chores. I never use this thing. Let's see if I can use this thing, if it's going to confuse me.
About some feet stabilized with SuperChat 2 set.
I beg your pardon, that was a bit soft.
I said that's the only thing I'm not a fan of.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it either. I never use it. I just thought maybe we should just try it. Well, I can see the runway, so that's one good thing. Right, let's match our speed there on the throttle and go for that one, and that one.
400 minimums.
Now we've got to fly this thing. made it.
80 knots.
Howard just called and asked if he'd like us to pick the passengers up from the road 35 to 40.
Yeah, give them hot chocolate while you're there. Krista, you are welcome.
Approaching 17.
Well, I just showed you an Ian approach. I showed you the EGNOS approach as well. I'm not sure what else you want me to say about that, Krister, but in weather like this, we've done 2 excellent approaches, you know, so if you can maybe ask a question or something, I can maybe answer it, but I mean, it's all according to the book, so let me know. Anybody else with a question? Anybody?
On runway 17. On runway 17.
It means you're covering the topic well, Nico.
I think so too.
On runway 1.
Must I love this weather
Flaps,
preset.
flaps.
This is a freaking awesome weather preset.
Hello, Jordan.
Good morning, Harkin. How are you?
I'm fine, sir, and you?
Fantastic. In need of coffee, though.
Yes, your voice coming through really strange. You need coffee.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. If there is nothing else, I'm going to just pull off this runway and watch a replay, and then we will reconvene later for a group flight. Where are we flying, Hakan? Are you still waiting for me to tell you?
Please tell us.
Okay, so why don't we go and fetch the Airbuses there in Lowy and fly to Heathrow?
Good, very good, sir, very good.
Alright, so we've done lots of Zibo now. I've worked very hard. For the guys that are not aware, I was up until 1 AM local time this morning with this beautiful aircraft, and I think I want to fly an Airbus now. So guys, we'll see what we do. I need to fly for BA Virtual, so I think that's a good one. What are you saying, Alan? Steve, that sounds familiar. Yes, that sounds familiar. I don't use it that often, but I usually use it to get rid of my altitude restrictions when I have to. When you come into land, for instance, at Stansted, and you're coming from the east, there is a mandatory hold because you come in at 12,000 feet and you need to exit at 6,000. And during that process, you need to altitude intervene to actually get out of that hold. And that's a prime example where you would press that button.
Evo, sir.
Evo, okay. Alright, we'll fly on IVO. Right, so if there are any IVO people who wants to fly with, you know, you guys are welcome. If you want to do it on VATSIM, your story. If you want to do it offline and still follow with us, we'll do it. I just need half an hour to go and do a couple of things, and then I'll be back, guys. Then we'll set up the next stream. We'll show you guys how a Boeing pilot can mess up an Airbus. We'll see how good we are or how bad we are, and then we can all laugh together. That guy with the thumbs down, if you are still around, you might want to be there for that one. We might need you again. So good luck. We'll find you as well. Thanks. Let's just park here, man. Let's just go do a test flight, a replay. Let's just go see what it looks like. Lester, that's all good. All good. Sergeant Potato, only one. Practice, practice, practice. You know, as good as I land some days, I land terribly the next. Sometimes your concentration loses 1 second and you slam into the ground. This runway is a particularly difficult one because it actually has a rise in elevation on the landing, in the landing zone. So if you time it incorrectly, you actually land very hard, because if you don't take that into consideration and your eyes are aiming for the low ground and all of a sudden there's high ground underneath you, it changes the dynamic. But if you land too deep, then the armchair pilots all pee in their pants because you didn't land on, you know, in the box, things like that. So don't mind people and don't mind this landing rate nonsense. As long as you could use the aircraft again and it's acceptable for your VA, you did a good landing. But practice. Do what I do here. Go take this flight, reproduce it. This is an excellent place to just, you know, fly circuits over and over again. To take it next level, you might want to do the flight without any autopilot. Just fly the aircraft by hand, get a feel for it so that you can feel what it's like when autopilot is switched off. Things like that. That I think are good tips. Uncle John.
Yes, sir.
Why can you not see an elementary group like this? This group is not hidden. It's just a group flight. That's all. Normal group flight folder.
Nico, I would not have made that statement if it wasn't correct. The group flight folder was not visible.
That's so weird.
I'm just telling you as it is.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I'm hearing you.
Well, it's back again, thank God. I don't know what happened.
Okay.
Anyway, well, thanks.
So long as you can see it now, then I'm happy.
We're going to fly with the real airplanes today.
We're gonna have to hear from Uncle John what our handicaps are because we're flying Airbus.
That's not fair.
Why? You're the guy scoring us, so you need to tell us what our handicaps would be.
I'm not qualified on Airbus, only Boeing.
Oh.
Airbus beats Boeing always.
Yeah.
Nice landing, Nico.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's acceptable. Right.
Good thing the government needs Airbus to stay in business.
Yeah.
Love those contrails.
Yeah. Well, I'm not very familiar with Airbus, so if you see anything I do wrong, laugh with me, not at me, and everything will be okay. I updated my TOLUS A319. I've not flown it since then. In fact, I haven't flown it in a while. I did one quick flight the other day and it felt weird. But I need to do this flight for British Airways Virtual, so, you know, that it is what it is. We're going to fly from
What
Lowy.
is the exact time?
The exact time, I would say an hour from now. Just give me an hour. I said half an hour earlier, but rather give me an hour just to settle a little bit. Then we go and try and fly those buses.
Okay. 12:45 Zulu.
Sounds right.
Good. 12:45 Zulu. I'm going to stream, sir. This is Bus.
Well, I'll stream it too because the guys need something to laugh with, you know. So
Please play with that airplane, sir. Just do whatever you do.
okay,
Because it has a honor, okay? It has a honor. It's really fantastic airplane.
okay. Well, Hakan, if I don't know anything, I'll ask you to tell me. Okay.
If number yes.
I've sent you some more pics, Harkin.